Okay, Jonathan, I like new music.
What's that? New music?
So we were just riffing with Derek, and he was like, okay, so how do we find new music? I'm like, well, I have ways. Like, so Jonathan, how do you find new music?
I don't think Derek and the Dominoes have put out any new music, Baxter.
No, I mean, that is true. That's true for Jonathan, 100%. It's Jesus, because like, all right, which Marcus King record we listen to today? Or
I mean, that's new.
Tedeschi Trucks. That's what it's
Yeah.
always like. Oh, I can't listen to Tedeschi Trucks anymore. I've had enough. You're phenomenal. You're both phenomenal. I've had too much. So, but there is like that's a question. Is like, how do you find new music? As like an old human like we are? Because young people have their own ways of doing it.
Yes.
And we don't know those ways.
We don't. It's secret. It's like magic.
It's like, oh my God, how do they do that?
It's the occult.
I mean, like, there's so many different ways I do it. Obviously, like, I do listen to Sirius Radio, and I listen to like the alternative stations. It's one of my big ways. So when I'm in the car, I'm always on like the sort of new music stuff. So I'm hearing everything from new pop to new rock to the jam channels. There might be jam bands I've never heard of.
True.
Or that I've never really given much like thought to.
Yes.
Like because who was that? My Morning Jacket. I remember like. I went to go see Gary Clark Jr., or I go see concerts too, but I remember going to go see Gary Clark Jr. I was like, I'm going to see this show. I was like, oh, he's opening for this band called My Morning Jacket, who I'd heard of, but never really heard.
Yeah.
And they were awesome. They destroyed Gary. It was just like a crushing show. I think his band was just super stoned that day.
It happens.
Or I don't know if that's just the way they play every time, but I've seen them all the time. They were super stoned that day, I think. But no, it's like that. But anyway, back to Sirius. That's a huge way for me. One of my ways. My other way, super nerdy, NPR.
No.
I know. It's like they have some cool shows where it's all about new music on there every once in a while, and I hate to admit I love NPR. It's like I'm always listening to music, or like I have to get a little NPR to get my news in. It's my news fit.
That's fair.
I love the BBC when they do news because they talk about like, oh, and this year is the cricket win is on. I'm like, cricket.
You just like the voices.
I do have a thing.
You love the voices.
So we were. People that know me, I do like they were trying to like see what kind of like Baxter doesn't have a type. I'm like, I don't really have a type.
Voices.
I do. I'm into like beautiful voices because I love Keira Knightley movies.
Beautiful accented
voices.
voices.
Don't get me wrong; these women are also gorgeous. I love Mila Jovovich. Like, but then I was listening to like NPR, and there's one of the reporters. She was from India, and like just when she's speaking, it's like I just love that voice. Everything about it's just like, oh my gosh. And then I married someone from Kentucky, which is another
different accent
from Hazard County. Has a beautiful, beautiful voice.
Hazard County.
It's like she's trained herself for years to like lose that southern accent as much as possible, which I find charming. My grandmother grew up without running water. She's from like the deep hills of Mississippi, had an outhouse, like house on sticks. But I knew her as the fanciest person in the world. She had read the Amy Vanderbilt Book of Etiquette. She never finished high school and stuff. I don't think it was just like
that's awesome. Actually.
She seemed like Princess Di to me. Like they would hit me if I used the wrong spoon or something.
There you go.
We're talking about how you find new music, weren't we?
Somewhere in there. That explains a lot of things, though. We know more into the psyche of Baxter.
Oh, that's disturbing.
That's why you're always hitting me while we're eating.
Stop it. Use the spoon on your left. Not that left.
The other plastic fork.
The smaller spoon.
The spork. The spork.
I do love sporks.
Sporks are great.
I think Bojangles hit the
very utilitarian.
Great thing. I'm more of a chopsticks guy in general. I think we're Cro-Magnon cave people that stab things.
It's true.
Learn your chopsticks, kids.
Nothing wrong with stabbing things.
No, but NPR has, and then I also just go I'll go to some of their website stuff on NPR.com, and they have some great lots of artists that are sort of stuff I would never lots of British hip hop artists that are really inspired by 80s American hip hop, and then they're sort of doing a new twist on it. Lots of cool sort of folk, Northern European music that I never would listen to otherwise, that you don't hear on Sirius. Yeah. And so I do because I'm a huge. This is an old band, but Sigur Rós is one of my favorite bands. Cool. Another thing, I have issues.
I'll do so. What I'll do on Spotify if I love an artist like Tedeschi Trucks, I'll put it on their artist radio. So then I know that it's going to suggest to me artists I've never heard, some new, some old. That'll be in that same vein. So I do it that way. But sometimes, if I'll go see people like acoustic guys that I know are always listening to new music, they'll always do fun covers. And when I don't recognize things, I'll ask them who it is, and then I'll go listen to that band.
Smart.
Frankie's good about that. Whiskey Pines, those guys are good about that.
Your friends are a great source, and those guys are sort of active in the new music.
They're always finding
cultivating.
Things. Yeah.
The other people, some of my old students, I work with a young group of like the guys, like I really like Ethan out in LA. I'll call him like, hey, who should I listen to now? He'll send me a list. And I'll hate 90% of it.
Yes,
because I'm old.
It's true.
But I listen to it. Like I just can't get into Tom Impala. I just can't. Tom Impala. I can't even pronounce it right. I don't Tame Impala. I don't even know. Young the Giant. Yeah, I dig that. That's a good band. Like that. I was like, okay, I can get behind this.
I wish there were feral Impalas. How much more interesting would that be?
Because is it Tame Impala or is it Tama? I don't even know how you pronounce it. Somebody's going to correct
It's Tame. It should be feral.
Feral Impala.
You guys can use that.
No,
don't feel free.
I just could like, and like, and Sean loves Fleet Foxes.
Oh yeah.
And they're good. I got sort of, I'm just too old now.
I think we're just old. I think we're old.
Then I love that Oliver Tree. Like, I mean, hilarious. I love that cat. And then when I found his stuff online, I was like, who's this weird guy that looks like him? Oh, that is him. He's the dude with the bowl cut and like the tracksuit. And his music is really, it's a great like punk rock and then it's great hip hop and then rap type. I'm like, what is happening? It's this weird white dude with like glasses and like a weird, he looks horrible, but he's got a great brand and it's good music. It's cool. And then, so like I cultivate the young humans that I've sort of known, like, and Hunter out in LA as well too. Like he's always had great music taste, but his favorite band is Radiohead, and he's like, a young 20-something-year-old dude.
There you go.
But then he uses, but I can use that as a good measuring bar that he has good taste in music.
Yes.
That he likes Radiohead. So it's not like he's just some dumb young dude that likes crap. I'm gonna not take his advice, and just gives me those punk just for nothing. He likes Radiohead. So any new music he recommends will have that flavor and flair to it theoretically.
In theory.
Yeah. So like that's a big way of how I find some of my new music.
There you go.
Yeah. So there's not too much to that. I do want to sort of find out like what everybody else does because I need more advice because I run out of music all the time.
Do you think people are finding music on things like Twitch or more on like random YouTube videos for artists? Like, do you think that stuff is becoming more and more of what those crazy young people are doing to find things? How much, or do you have to know about the artist and then to go listen to them on those things?
Possibly, because we've been talking a lot about some of the new streaming services, and I mean Twitch isn't new, but it's like how it's being cultivated by artists and possibly. I mean, I think some people, the idea of like having to listen to a major label artist is not a thing as it used to be.
Right.
There's other options, and you might like some of my young students that I work with, that I've worked with in the past. Like they don't like anything that's mainstream at all, and they'll turn me on these things that are just a YouTuber that like they're artists, but that have their songs on YouTube, no videos, just the song is there and it plays with a picture on top of it, and it's really good music.
Well, I mean, I don't know anybody really. I mean, I know you listen to the Sirius, but I don't know anyone who listens to actual, like the radio station really anymore. I mean, I don't even put that on my car. It's always Spotify.
I do every once in a while just to kind of like see what's happening, but then I get so mad when like those commercials and then people start talking. It's like when I go to a house with cable TV, I just get so frustrated. Right. Because like, what is this? And my kids are like, can we fast forward that? I'm like, no, you can't fast forward this, son. This is what I had to grow up with.
We used to have to go through the commercial breaks.
The horrors of the 80s and 90s. It was terrible. In my day, I was the remote control. I would have to go up there and turn the channel, son. Before we got that fancy one. I remember remote controls that had cables attached to the TV. You ever seen one of those?
No.
The early remote controls had a wired thing that you could take it back. You could change
I remember my dad would make me go change the channel and he'd slap me in the back of the head if I didn't do it fast enough.
Did you have antenna at all?
Yes.
I had that at some point too.
Yes, we did.
And we didn't get HBO, but our neighbors did. Somehow, so and then our neighbors figured out how to splice the cable and give us HBO.
I mean, like,
it's awesome.
I was pretty old when we could get cable down my dirt road. It was antenna until then.
Like you just recently moved off of a dirt road too, so
yeah, it's true.
Jonathan's driveway is like a driveway of kings. You should not have a house this nice. I'll say this till our dying day.
It's true. It makes zero sense. Strange world.
No, like just it's a neat new world. Like that you can find music pretty much everywhere. That's the hard part, is like there's so much of it now.
Yes. And
like, but like even some of the stuff that it might have like 0 fans, I might like that as much as the big stuff. It's fun. Like I can't remember how I first heard, 20 years ago, Sigur Rós or whatever that was, the Icelandic band that doesn't use, they don't sing in Icelandic either. They just sing notes and sounds with their voices. They just make up their own language. It's sort of unreal, and I love it. And I forgot how I heard about them too. It's just I might have saw them on like a late night show once. And I was like, what is this weird? I think it was on Conan O'Brien back when he was like on at 12:30 or something. I was like, this is amazing. What is this? I love it. And then I sort of,
That used to be a way to find bands. You'd see them on like the late shows, and
isn't that funny? Like you'll see these like bands that are huge now,
right.
And their first like late show, like
they're like nothing,
like Jessica Simpson.
Just like
that's
Jessica
my favorite
Simpson.
like Saturday Night Live performance ever. Still, like when you remember the lip syncing disaster? I still watch it every once in a while because like that girl.
I mean, was that her or was that her sister? It's Ashley Simpson.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ashley Simpson.
Ashley Simpson.
My apologies. Jessica Simpson's amazing too. No, but I actually think Ashley Simpson's really talented, and like that's like. If that would have happened today, it would not be a big deal. It just happened.
No.
It would not be because everyone lip syncs.
Right.
And
It's much
everyone
more
has
accepted.
tracks playing. And then the band was like, it's not her fault. I'm going to stick up for Ashley all the way on that one. That was absurd. That just happened at the wrong time. Or let's just go back to SNL right now. Sinead O'Connor, when she tore up the Pope.
Whoa.
That she would be applauded today.
Yes.
Applauded, and like it would have increased record sales. Instead, it destroyed her career when she did that. I don't know why I'm going on a rant about that, but I just felt like it. Because it's just funny because she was the one calling out like all the horrible things that were happening that were being hidden, and no one was. And people, she wasn't saying like.
There you go.
People
go listen to Sinead O'Connor.
It's a haunting performance when she did an a cappella performance on SNL, and I was upset when I first saw it because I was a kid.
Right.
But I was like, this is upsetting. I don't like this. I'm angry at her too. She's a bad person. Then 20 years later or whatever it's been.
Go ahead.
Or more than 20 years later, I think this was the 90s.
I'm just imagining child Baxter saying, "This is upsetting."
I'm upset by this. I remember watching like the Waco event on live television, like when like they burned the brand. Like I remember all these weird things. It's like, just watching the news, like this standoff's been. Oh wait, why is there a tank in the living room and it's on fire? And that was upsetting too.
Pretty upsetting.
That was almost as upsetting as people being mean to Ashley Simpson. And I think go check out her music. It was actually really good.
Yeah,
it was good music. For pop stuff, she'd be huge if she came out today. I think again,
probably true.
And Milli Vanilli, another one, careers ruined from that lip sync. And those guys, that was different. They didn't sing any of their stuff. They were just actors.
Yeah, who cares? It was fun.
I mean, isn't it all kind of acting now with the computers? In some ways, it's like if the computer changes your voice entirely, is it your voice anymore, or is that just the sound? Oh, that's a whole other topic.
Ouch.
So finding new music.
Ta-da! Done. How do you guys find new music? Let us know in the comments. Is that everything? Are we done?
I think we're kind of done with that one.
We're done.
We have to shoot some other videos in there. Like,
we will.
Derek's like, we got all these other videos. You got to shoot now, Baxter. Get off the
every
talking.
Day. That's what Derek does every day.
He's
cracks
so
the whip.
Mean me. I'm out.
All right, hit like and subscribe. Click the bell. Don't miss videos in the future. We will see you guys next time. Thank you so much.